saw in the last video, we got the cage all in. We're gonna push forward on this. I started working the rotisserie. Oh geez, it's been a couple of years now. Then I built the T sections for the end of the timbers. Bought it. It was during COVID, so that's how long ago it was. But now we're at a point where the car's pretty much ready to go up on it. Basically, what we're doing is we're building a Ferris wheel for the car. That's what's happening in this video. You're gonna see it all at once, but it's probably gonna take a couple of weeks because, you know, yeah, you come home from work, you do a little bit here, you get up, you go back to work, and around, and you don't really get weekends on the railroad. So, and my next vacation is gonna be, the weather's gonna be pretty cold already. So we're gonna squeeze this in as fast as we can. We are going to hope that we can get it to a point where I can get this thing on the rotisserie before I lose my hot weather. And the hot weather is important because the whole point of having this thing on the rotisserie is to do the floors. And if I'm going to do the floors, there's between the floor strengthener and the floor, and also between the inner and outer sill, there are gaps that need to be rust proof, painted, what have you. And epoxy paint is super temperature sensitive, so if it gets too cold at night in my unheated garage, so I've got to kind of get a move on this, and hopefully we can get it done. If not, then this thing will go up in the spring. And as soon as it's done, I'll throw this clip plus the rest onto a video and show you how it looked. To work. So these are the uprights, as you can see. So this angular support is 16.5 inches. So what I've done here with my trusty T-square and pencil, I've gone 16.5 inches from there to there. 16.5 inches. Basically, this whole thing is 20 inches to that line, flat. So what that does, that gives me the 16.5 plus the 3.5 for the thickness because of a 2x4, because running between these is going to be a 2x4, 12-footer cut to the length of whatever I need between the verticals. And these are going to be gussets that hold it, these two vertical to one another and perpendicular to the 2x4. So 2x4 will run along here. This will get screwed to it. And then in order to save some space, I've done a line across, and then these are going to be mirror image of each other. They'll be able to flip over. And I'll get 4 gussets out, and instead of cutting it all, I've had them interlock. This piece of plywood, by the way, is only 42 inches wide. So it's 21 inches. Each one of these is going to be 21 inches along the long side, 16.5 along that, and then the 2x4 anchoring in. So we're going to cut it now. And by the way, I have the lights off, like these ones, so you don't get a background glare. Those lights. My saw blade is very old and dull. Haven't done a lot of woodworking lately. Now I'm going to cut it lengthwise, or widthwise, I guess. Yeah, there must have been some staples or something in there, because that one cut way better. And I'm going to cut along the diagonal lines. Right? So 2 and 2. And these are going to go onto that end. So these go right there. I can even trim the top of it to make it nice and flat if I want, although I don't see the need to. Coming out lengthwise, and 2x4 running along it. So on my bench, I've got everything sorted because it's always easier to sort these things. So we have, well, first of all, we have the casters. There's 2 and 2, so each one of them has 4 of these lag bolts with a washer. And that'll hold them into the bottom, right? So then we got 12 of these little guys, right? 3, 6, 9, 12. So what those are is 3 of them each going to hold the gusset. 3 of them on each one of these. So 3 times 4 is 12. These ones that are a little longer, they're going to hold the gusset where the 2x4 is on. So they'll be able to go through a little, they gotta be a little thicker because there's gonna be an additional 2x4. So I'll have 1, 2, and then times 4 is 8. These guys here, the bolts, they're going to hold the gusset onto the 2x4 as it runs along the length. So these ones, instead of screwing in, I've actually got a bolt on them because that way I can go through the 2x4, through the gusset, cinch it together. Because otherwise, I don't know, like it's got to go the full, it's got to go the right depth, right? So there we go. We're gonna watch me put this thing together now. So what I've done on each of the gussets, I've marked it. I don't know if you can see, there's a pencil line 3.5 inches up here, right? And 1.5 inches in. This is the thickness of that 2x4 stringer. This is the thickness of that 2x4 there, right? So I know where to put it. Now, from this line to here is 13 inches, so I go down 4, 7, and 10. So they're 3 inches spaced, plus the inch for the extra length, just in the corner there. So I've marked there. So now you saw where I marked those. I'm gonna go in 3/4 of an inch, mark them. And these don't have to be precise, right? Now I'm only marking these ones because the ones down here, they're gonna wait until that 2x4 is ready to go on before they actually get the hole drilled. That way I don't have to align everything. So these here, so ready to drill these. Looks like a 7/32. Yeah, that'll leave a bit more than the thread. It'll be a little thicker than the threads. So that'll be good. So we got clamps there. Now I can pre-drill these in. Only need to go about that deep, so. And I got a 1/2 inch nut driver, right? So we're gonna drive these in. Tighten you down. Perfect. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. Cinched. One side of the rotisserie. Now, casters. So these ones here are a 5/32 drill bit, and instead of the 1/2 inch driver, it's 7/16 driver. So so you don't over tighten and kill your threads, or kill your wood. Just use a wrench for the last tightening, so you don't overdo it. This one here needs a bit. There we go. Wind caster in. Now we'll hit the next one. Oh, at least now I know why my dogs are barking. I can hear the neighbor's dachshunds going off, which is always fun. If it came down to a scrap between the dachshunds and my 2 Irish Wolfhounds, I'm not entirely sure I wouldn't bet on the dachshunds. You have to have respect for any animal. It's bred to go face first into a badger hole after all. See how they're still loose when I'm back? They're not tight. That's because I don't want to strip the wood. So I'll finish up with one of these. There we go. So now this can go sit somewhere, and I'll do the other one. And it sits nicely on top of 3 2x4s and a 1 1¼ inch deck board. And that'll keep it from tipping over. I should probably wear gloves, splinters and all. But I find when I'm working with wood, I don't wear gloves as much. If I'm using a saw, I'll usually wear the glasses. But not so much with the drill. It's probably a bad habit, I probably should. But I think we've established over the course of these videos that I can be an idiot at times. I just hate to give that up. It's my claim to fame, you know? And continuing with the sneak out whenever I can. I still got to put the door on that side. But what I've managed to do is I've taken more of the bolts that we had and put them in there. What I did is I set it so that both the center of both pivot points was 35 inches up from the floor. That'll keep it level and should keep it balanced. If when it's up there, it keeps wanting to drop, then I'll move the balance points down to move weight up on the car weight up against the pivot if it wants to flip upside down. So I built some adjustment, and that's why the multiple holes. And I've got several inches worth of leeway. This one here, same. As I said, 35 inches up from the floor. This is just a kind of a spacer. I just thought it might not be the worst thing to have there. The one thing I am probably going to do is cut some of this off just so it's not sticking out. I'm going to measure the length I need with the rotisseries. So I'm not going to put the car up on the rotisserie just yet. First of all, I still have to put the door on, keep it as stiff as possible. But the other thing is we're getting to a spot now in the year where the temperatures are dropping at night, and with the temperatures dropping, it makes it hard for stuff like PR15 or the epoxy paint is really temperature sensitive. So I don't really want to be throwing paint on it. And once I put this thing on the rotisserie, I want to have it up for as little time as possible. I want to put as little stress on the body and as little stress on the rotisserie, the iron bars that are holding it up as possible. So if I want to keep it up for as short a time as possible, I should be able to, when it's up, I should be able to not only do the floors, but actually do the whole underside, undercoating, paint the floors, PR15, the holes and stuff. And I just don't know about the temperatures. I'm going to see how the temperatures go the next little bit. But if it looks like it's going to be like freezing at night, which it did last night, just don't know about putting the paint on. So I'm going to be looking at doing some other stuff here for the next few weeks. But this thing is, as far as I'm concerned, ready to go up to work.